Yeah, yeah, they reprint really classic
They do.
Or paperback originals, and of course new works by new writers. And once again, here's, as I was saying, you look at them; they're all that same size, about roughly 50,000 words. They're the size of the old gold medal originals and those other imprints that that were so popular in the 50s. And it's once again there's a venue for fiction of that length, and crime fiction just fits that perfectly. I understand that they're also, I believe it's the same company is about to launch a line of going back further to the true pulp magazine tradition with the kind of hero-driven stories of from the pulp era, and once again with retro covers from the 20s and 30s style.
I would be so excited if they went to Flash Gordon, for example.
Yeah.
Do you remember Flash Gordon and Ming the Evil Emperor and his daughter and that?
Yeah.
Those were in those nifty little, little big books or something?
Big books, big little books, whatever.
Whatever.
Was, yeah.
They were absolutely great.
Started out, of course, as newspaper comic strips. And, of course, these were the original Flash Gordon was done by Alex Raymond, and a lot of people consider that to be the one best of all the old comics art. That and Bern Hogarth's Tarzan, which also went into the big little books, and Hal Foster's Prince Valiant. But in those days, the pictures in the comics pages were much bigger than they are now. They've been shrinking and shrinking over the decades so they could crowd yet more strips onto a single page, and so the art suffered greatly. It's not.
I think that's true. I remember the illustrations in the Flash Gordon series, and particularly the whole Planet Ming thing was just so dynamite. But another thing that's making a tremendous resurgence, which may be good for you, are the Marvel comic heroes. I'm trying to think. I mean, there's the Japanese manga thing, which is one whole track, but your fellow New Mexican, David Morrell, in Santa Fe, did a Captain America book in the fall, and that is, I'm going blank on the actual name for these, what they call them, but they're basically illustrated
graphic novels.
Thank you. That's it. Graphic novels.
Yeah, I've never done any of that, but I wouldn't mind doing it at all.
Your Conan would be absolutely fabulous if they came back, sort of stripped down in story with the illustrations.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't own the rights to that character. I believe it's what's the name of it? It's some press now that owns the rights to the Conan the Barbarian character. For all I know, they may be actually doing that.
They could. Well, it'd be sort of fun, but I mean, you clearly have had, because we haven't touched on your science fiction, and we do need to move on to your SPQR series for St. Martin's, but you really have been a professional writer in a sense of adapting yourself to various markets, various genres, even under another name. It's
been pretty much necessary. I've been a mid-list writer really for my whole career, and so when you're doing that, if you're actually making a living at it and not doing any other kind of work, and that's me, you got to write a lot, and so I haven't. And I get tired of writing one thing for a long time.
I wondered if that were part of it.
One genre to another. Like as I say, I'm doing the Roman mysteries, but at the same time, I'm working on a book that I'd like to send to hard case, and I have a few other projects in the works. But
well, you obviously have confidence, since you've done this in so many different genres and so many books, that you can produce different kinds of things. You're not sitting there waiting for the muse to take you. And I mean, I've always thought that newspaper reporters made wonderful writers because they were used to producing material on demand.
Yeah, well, that's what Mickey Spillane was. He was a sports writer for one of the newspapers. I forget which one it was. And he said, it taught you how to write, taught you to, not to include extraneous material, and above all, taught you to write to deadline. That's why editors like working with ex newspapermen or even current newspapermen, because they understand deadlines.
That's true. They don't have time for writer's block. Now, I remember your SPQR books. The first books came out as paperback originals from Avon, I think it was.
Yes.
And how many? It was at least four.
Four. The first four came out with Avon, and then they axed the series. This had nothing to do with me. The first book came out in 1989, and it was just titled SPQR.
I remember that. That was the year I opened the Poison Pen, and I'm pretty sure I remembered that your book was one of the first ones that I sold to historical mystery fans in large quantities.
Great. Right out the starting gate, it got nominated for the Edgar Award.
Right.
And so that let me know that I was onto something. So I wrote those first four for Avon, and then my editor at Avon, John Douglas, got into some kind of dispute with his boss. And his boss retaliated by cutting several series that John was developing, and one of them was the Roman Mysteries. However, in the meantime, they'd become big bestsellers in Germany.
You know, I've forgotten that you were publishing those for a German market for a while, because there were several that came out in Germany that we couldn't get over here.
Yeah, for a while they were about 5 books ahead in Germany.
Right.
Now they're just 1 book ahead, I think. And but I kept writing them for my German publisher and also for other
foreign
languages. Yeah, it's up to 13 languages now. And in the meantime, my agent was trying to get another publisher to take it up, but it's very difficult to get a publisher to pick up on a series that another publisher has dropped. They don't like to do that. But finally, Ruth Cavan at St. Martin's Press agreed and decided to bring out the 5th book in hardcover. And so they brought out all the books since then have come out at St. Martin's in hardcover, and with the first 4 being reprinted in mass market paper,
in trade paperback, right?
Rather.
And just for viewers who may not be sure what we're talking about, this size book is a trade paperback, and I think it really fits your series very well. There's a whole different sort of feeling about it than mass market paperbacks, which are the small ones that fit in grocery store racks and all. And I was very pleased that St. Martin's did bring the first 4 books back.
They brought the first 4, and that's a rare occasion. I don't know of any other time that's happened that an original mass market paperback has been reprinted as a trade paperback. Well, there are a few.
Now, it does happen, but
reprints.
It doesn't happen very often by a different publisher. Sometimes, like Charlene Harris, who struck it rich with her Suki Sackhouse, you know, the whole paranormal thing, which is very popular at the moment. Some of her early books came out as mass market, but the same publisher is now republishing them in a different format, and that's not so unusual. But the reason I think it matters a lot to your series is that you've been developing a character, basically a family, and a chronology moving towards the end of the Roman Republic. Maybe we should start by saying, what does SPQR stand for those who don't know?
It's a formula. It stands for Senatus Populusque Romanus, and it was in ancient Rome. It was the civic logo. They put it on monuments. They put it on official correspondence. Everything. It's still used in Rome. It's
absolutely. It's still on manhole
covers. Yep. Right, and on public works and on the city's coat of arms, and so forth. And
it means for the Senate and people of Rome.
Senate and people of Rome. Yes, and that was the official stamp on everything, essentially. And notice they put the Senate first and then the people to let people know where they stood. That was going to be I had an idea for the series to begin with, and that was going to be my title for the series, SPQR. But John and I couldn't settle on a title for the book, so it finally just came out with the title SPQR. And I've had people try to pronounce it. You know, did you write Spooker? And I said, yeah, I did.
But now it does have a title.
Yeah, when it was reprinted by St. Martin's, they said, no, we want an actual title for the thing. And so I came up with The King's Gambit, because as far as I know, for one thing, they didn't have chess in ancient Rome, and there's no King's Gambit. So my original title for the book was He Dies Old, which is from Housman's Shropshire Lad. The very last verse of the last poem of the collection is, I tell you the story as I heard it told, Mithridates, he died old. And in the first book, the off-screen presence, he never shows up in the book, but it turns out that he's actually manipulating everything in the background as King Mithridates of Pontus, the character mentioned in the Housman poem. But John said, well, that sounds too literary. So I thought, well, why shouldn't a novel sound literary? You know, but,
True.
we couldn't agree on that. So